Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaurabhakta Panchakautascha Kripa Sindhu Deja Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, I'm feeling unqualified today to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam, but nonetheless I'll try my best to describe something that's beneficial to the assembly of the exalted devotees here. The chapter we are on and coming to the end of is called the Schedule of Incarnations with Specific Functions. And this is one of the last verses in the chapter. And the main subject matter of this chapter is just describing the different avatars of Krishna that appear and the different reasons behind the appearance of those incarnations. And Srila Prabhupada makes a really nice point in the last verse of this chapter, which I don't want to spoil for anyone, but the essence is, Prabhupada actually describes this in the last sentence of today's purport. Prabhupada writes that professional Bhagavatam reciters earn their livelihood by gratifying the senses of the audience. So, the point I'm referring to, and which Srila Prabhupada is always hitting home with, is that we should be very cautious of the sahaja mentality. The desire to hop over or go beyond our qualification is very dangerous. And just like our dear Mahosa Prabhu was making this really nice point yesterday about, it was a quote that he had read from Srila Prabhupada, and I didn't catch the reference. I was downstairs in the kitchen, so the reason I'm bringing up this point is one may think that, the basic stuff isn't for me, I'll go on beyond. A real devotee is an expert in the basics. Of God and is compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people, and it is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. We can go up to the center actually, because I think they're similar to today's verse. Oh, Jack. Thank you. I think they began in the same way. And the relationship of our Guru Parampara is really magnificent. There are so many illustrious representatives coming in our line, and there's a nice bhajan that Mahotsa Prabhu likes to sing quite often, and it's was it Prabhupada Pranamami Pada? What's the actual word for it? That's right. Yeah. There's a really nice stanza in that bhajan where it's saying that the illustrious personality Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is swinging the flag, he's raising the flag of Rupa and Raghunath, and really glorifying the Guru Paramparas, really the duty of a disciple and one who comes in this disciplic succession. And one cannot receive transcendental knowledge unless it's coming from a bona fide parampara, which is a point we also hear over and over again, but it's important that we understand these things. I had realization of this when I was on traveling Sankirtan with Parameshwar Prabhu. We were at a university somewhere in the Midwest, and we had a book table set up on campus, and there was an Indian professor who came to the table and started to have a interaction, and I was learning from Parameshwar Prabhu, considering his level of experience and my level of inexperience. So I was doing a lot of listening and paying attention to his mannerisms. So this professor had come, and they had a nice conversation, actually. But towards the end, Parameshwar Prabhu kept hammering this point that you cannot receive knowledge unless it's from a bona fide Guru Parampara. This Indian professor couldn't really understand this, and it was just this point he kept hammering and kept hammering and kept hammering. And the more you read Srila Prabhupada's books, the more you'll see there's actually tons of references to this, which I was doing some research yesterday to gain mercy so that I could glorify Krishna in this purport. But this is actually something that Srila Prabhupada mentions in the Journey of Self-Discovery, and is quoted in the Padma Purana. It is said, Sampradaya vinihaye mantras te nishpala mataha. Quote, unless you are initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, in the disciplic succession, the mantra that you might have received is without any effect. So, we can see the importance of following a predecessor acharya and worshiping their lotus feet. As a popular mantra in the ashram is, there's no higher mantra than the lotus feet of the Guru. And it's amazing, the Guru Parampara that we hear about, because all the relationships in the Guru Parampara are really interesting. Today we're hearing from Lord Brahma has been instructing his disciple Narada on the incarnations, but now Lord Brahma is asking Narada Muni to describe the Srimad Bhagavatam. And where does Lord Brahma get his strength? He's the greatest living being. His body is made of pure intelligence, and Narada is his disciple. But Lord Brahma, it's stated in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Another name for Brahma is Vidinchi. So there's a verse that says, Shiva Vidinchi Nutam, which means that even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, the most powerful created beings, they actually get their strength from worshiping Lord Chaitanya. Wow. The greatest. And they bow down. It's 11.5.33. You can pull that up. 11.5.33. Sanskrit is really nectarian. Vidinchi. 11.5.33. It's quoted pretty often. Deyam sada paribhavagnam abhishtadoham tirtasparam shiva vidinchi nutam sharanyam
Brityartiham pranatapala bhavibdipotam vande mahapurushate charanavindam. My dear Lord, you are the Mahapurusha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I worship your lotus feet, which are the only eternal object of meditation. Those feet destroy the embarrassing conditions of material life and freely award the greatest desire of the soul, Abhishadoham, the attainment of pure love of Godhead. My dear Lord, your lotus feet are the shelter of all holy places and of all saintly authorities in the line of devotional service, and are honored by powerful demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. My Lord, you are so kind that you willingly protect all those who simply bow down to you with respect, and thus you mercifully relieve all the distress of your servants. In conclusion, my Lord, your lotus feet are actually the suitable boat for crossing over the ocean of birth and death, and therefore even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva seek shelter at your lotus feet. So Lord Brahma is instructing his disciple Narada Muni, and Prabhupada is giving this chain and the purport of Lord Brahma, Narada, Vyasadeva, Shukadev Goswami, and according to the Srimad Bhagavatam, who is Shukadev Goswami? In the second chapter of the first canto, it's stated that Tam Vyasa Sunam Upayami Guru Muninam. So Shukadev Goswami is referred to as the spiritual master of all the great sages. So Narada Muni was sitting down in the presence of Shukadev Goswami. So these relationships, it's really incredible. And there's so much to say in this regard, but I'll continue on to some other points I have written down. Sorry, my mind is a little sporadic today, so please forgive any discrepancies in this regard. But there is, I wanted to do a little pop quiz for the devotees just to keep everyone on their toes, but Prabhupada, see if devotees remember this, but in the purport today, Prabhupada makes a reference to, it's in the middle here, Prabhupada says that, so the transcendental knowledge of the Supreme Lord is not mental speculation by the mundane wranglers. And some time ago, we all chanted every day for many, many weeks the prayers sung by Shukadev Goswami. So I wanted to give devotees here a chance to see if they can remember the verse that is quoting mundane wranglers. I have it written down. It's in the second canto, fourth chapter. We were chanting those verses for so long. It was really nice.
That's how it ends. Ya ema purushaha.
No, not that one. That's not. That's not the one. The one is,
Abhimanyu Sutta Prabhu. That's how it begins. Namo Namaste. Yeah. Surshavaya Sattvatam. Vidura Kashtaya is the word. Vidura Kashtaya. Prabhupada gives the translation for that Vidura Kashtaya is one who is far away from the mundane wranglers. And this is something I've appreciated about the Krishna Life Ashram, is that we are given importance to chanting of these different chapters in the Srimad Bhagavatam, or whether it's, the nectar of devotion, nectar of instruction, Upadeshamrita. During the marathon, we derive a lot of nectar out of chanting verses from the Bhagavad Gita. So it's nice to see this, in the lives of practicing devotees. We should take great pleasure in hearing from Krishna's words and from Krishna's devotees, and it should bring us the greatest joy. So I've always appreciated that about our temple here, the importance of hearing.
There's actually another verse in that Bhagavatam. Vedangra Vidhyana Samadhi Gautaya Vyanu Pashyani Tattvamatana Vadanti Chaitat Kavayo Yatharucha
Hmm.
So there,
It's also reference to the mundane wranglers.
yeah, it says mental speculators. It says the learned mental speculators, however, think of him according to their whims.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really satisfying chanting those verses. I felt like we were attempting to receive some of the mercy that's being available by Shukadeva Goswami's mercy. Yeah, and like this verse we were just reading about the Krishna is protecting his devotees and saving them from embarrassing situations, and it's important in the life of a practicing devotee that we have proper conduct and attitude, especially a service attitude towards Vaishnavas, to save ourselves from offenses to devotees, which is the most dangerous thing. So we should be very cautious to be aware of the danger of coming under the influence of the lower modes of material nature. And a lot of nice verses about this in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We like to speak on the second chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, so there's a nice verse, which is 1:2:25 that says, Bejire muniyo tagre bhagavantam adhoksajam satvam vishuddham shemaya kalpante yenutaniha, that Bejire muniyo tagre, that these muniyos, these great sages, they actually worship Krishna because he's above the modes of material nature, and by doing so they also become free from that. So to rise up in devotional service, we should take shelter of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada also writes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that smoke disturbs, but fire serves. So, similarly, like mode of passion, there's only smoke, and but fire is pure. The fire is blazing. Smoke, it gets in your eyes. You can't really see anything. So, like that, smoke disturbs, and fire serves. So, we have to be cautious to live regulated lives so that we don't become agitated or have an offensive mentality towards other living beings. Kalki Prabhu was making this point the other day, just kind of out of the blue, but he was saying that he was with a book distributor and he was having a really hard time. So the book distributor just had to go take a nap to get proper rest, and then he was able to distribute tons of books. This point that Srila Prabhupada also mentions towards the end of today's purport, which is about the ripened fruit being passed down. It doesn't fall suddenly from a high branch, but it's handed down very carefully, hand by hand, through disciplic succession, like a nice, sweet, ripened mango. And there's also a lot of verses about this, in famous verse in the Bhagavad Gita, Evam Param Pura Praptam Imam Rajasayo Viduhu Sakalena Hamahata Yogo Nasha Param Tapa. And I was meditating on this analogy that Srila Prabhupada has given in reference to passing down the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge. What is that verse? The third verse of the first chapter? Yeah. Nigamakalpa Turor Galitam Palam. It's very soft and palatable. It's easy. All you have to do is just drink it. But this analogy I wanted to bring up is the benefit we receive from taking shelter of the Vaishnava disciplic succession, rather than becoming enamored by the material world and taking shelter of bad masters, basically. I I had a nice conversation with Tapapunja Prabhu. I wanted to ask him some questions before I left for India. And I kind of was creating this analogy in my head that, here we are in this disciplic succession, and the spiritual masters are working tirelessly to give us this Vedic knowledge. And, here's this ripened mango, and all you have to do is just, offer it to Krishna. Tapapunja Prabhu was telling me these experiences he's had of going to different farmers markets. I was telling some of the devotees this the other day, but I'll share it for those who haven't heard this. This is worth hearing. When he was in Mississippi at the Hare Krishna community, the New Talavan, he would go to farmers markets, and sometimes, most of the time, he was explaining that he was the only person there who was actually selling not only organic, but vegetables that he actually grew. And there were other booths there, you could say, that had produce that they were selling, but they would go to a restaurant depot or like a business place that would sell things in bulk, and they would buy vegetables and then bring it to the farmer's market and tell everyone, oh yeah, here we are, here's our produce. That's so crazy. And he would walk by them and say, oh, I see you're growing cauliflower in the middle of July. Like, obviously, yeah. And his observations of the interactions of the material world are very enlightening, and he was telling me that he also had, maybe it was that same day, he had gone to a produce market called Winn-Dixie, which is just like a Publix or a Kroger, just like your average supermarket. And there he saw like bundles of greens, like collard greens, kale, and he looked to see where they were grown, and said they were grown in Georgia, actually. It's called Baker's Farm. And so he went into the back of the produce department, and he asked the lead back there, where do these come from? And he ended up getting a phone number for Baker's Farms, and somewhere in Georgia. It's not too far away from here, actually. And so he called the number, and they had like a, telecomp, whatever it is, and number 2, this and that. And one of the numbers was you could actually talk to the owner himself. So he hit this number, it was number 10. And he spoke to the owner just on the phone, and he was asking him about his operation. Like, how do you grow these kinds of greens, year round? Because, things grow in season, but they have like a 600-acre property somewhere in Georgia, and they grow these various large varieties of different greens. But it's so hot in Georgia in the summertime, so the strategy they have is they flood the plants from basically sunset to sunrise. Because in the middle of the day, it's so hot, plants will just basically like melt away. So the plants are saturated in the evening when it's cooler, and then the evaporation takes place, and somehow the plants are able to survive. But anyways, this process is really artificial, and he was explaining that they have to like submerge their fields in like different kinds of fertilizers, and not only that, but Tapapunja Prabhu was explaining all these different things to us at the Shravanam Kirtanam camp, which were kind of grotesque, actually. It was like almost embarrassing. And but one of the techniques that this farm was using in Georgia was that they're watering their plants and they're fertilizing their fields with different chemicals. And he was explaining to me that when the greens are harvested by, I don't know, they must have teams of workers going out there and picking everything by hand. It takes a long time, obviously, to get it from the farm to the store without it wilting. Even if you go out here and, pick a couple leaves off of the tree, by the time it's afternoon already, these, like the flowers around the altar, they're, wilted by the end of the night. So to get produce from a farm that's like hours away and get it to the grocery store where people can actually buy it. So he was, Tapapunja Prabhu was explaining that once the bundles of greens get to the grocery store, they actually dunk them in like a bath of chlorine and all these different chemicals that he was saying also are found in rat poison and stuff like that. So it's just really sad, the culture that we're so heavily immersed in. And but was making this analogy of like the difference between like, okay, there's an option for you. You can take to spiritual life and gain the ultimate good, the ultimate benefit, get out of this miserable material world. Or you can just take shelter of the materialistic society, which before we know it is probably going to blow up. So that's why we're trying so hard now to establish farm communities for devotees to live sane lives. And I was actually asking Tapapunja Prabhu different questions, and one of them was about the subject that he brought up during the devotees' initiation, which we hear about quite often. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur meeting Abhay Charande, and Prabhupada was very young, I think 25, 26 years old, and receiving that instruction at such a young age to preach in the West. And it took our Srila Prabhupada so long to actually, Prabhupada was meditating on those orders his entire life, and I was asking Tapapunja Prabhu, I said, Prabhu, is it proper to think that, what we're trying to accomplish is going to take like our entire lives to basically fulfill? And he said, yeah, it seems about right that, we're trying to move in a direction that is totally, we're going against the grain of the materialistic society. So like Srila Prabhupada spending his entire life and finally coming to America. Prabhupada left at the age of 69, is it? 69 years old. So, it's the duty of a disciple to constantly meditate, carry out, offer obeisances to the Guru in their words, their mind, their actions. Even Vishnuchitta Prabhu, Bhaktanali, and myself, we were having a nice conversation the other day, and you were saying, for these self-sustaining communities to develop, it'll probably take generations. So, and there's a lot of work we have to do, but carrying that burden or that weight for the pleasure of the Guru is really the treasure house of the disciple, because Prabhupada could have just stayed. He didn't have to come to America, but he was given that order by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And I was hearing Srila Prabhupada speak lecture. I'm going through Srila Prabhupada's lectures systematically from very beginning days in New York all the way to, I guess, 76, 77. So it's really nice. You kind of get to almost live with Srila Prabhupada in one sense and hear his, wouldn't necessarily say evolution of preaching, because Prabhupada's message is always the same, but it's kind of nice to kind of live day in and day out with Prabhupada. But Prabhupada was saying that the real sign of wealth in Vedic times was actually how many cows you owned, not simply just having paper money. So, we're really far away from that, obviously, but to at least make small steps in that direction is desirable. There's also a few other points I wanted to bring up. The verse today, it's saying here the nama of the name, and Mahotsa Prabhu was actually speaking about this yesterday, the power of the holy name of Krishna. And Mahotsa Prabhu, you have the screen here? Can you pull up this verse? This is a really awesome, another good verse from the 11th canto, chapter 2, text 55. Vrisijiti hridayam nayasya shakshat darir abhishabhito vyaga oga nashaha pranaya rasanaya dritangi padma sabhavati bhagavata pradana ukta. Is there a mic in the audience, or somebody can read this verse? It's really nice. If you haven't seen this verse, this is definitely one to write down or take note of. This is incredible.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is so kind to the conditioned souls that if they call upon Him by speaking His holy name, even unintentionally or unwillingly, the Lord is inclined to destroy innumerable sinful reactions in their hearts. Therefore, when a devotee who has taken shelter of the Lord's lotus feet chants the holy name of Krishna with genuine love, the Supreme Personality of Godhead can never give up the heart of such a devotee. One who has thus captured the Supreme Lord within his heart is to be known as Bhagavat Pradhana, the most exalted devotee of the Lord.
Yeah, so the holy name is really, really merciful. And those of us who have been so fortunate to have been given the holy name by a bona fide guru should really take advantage of serving the spiritual master by carrying out that order of every day chanting our rounds, 16 rounds. Because Krishna's holy name, as it says in this verse, Pya Aga Olga Nasha, that's basically innumerable sinful activities. Krishna is going to destroy them, Nasha. And when a devotee, Pranaya Rasanaya, when a devotee binds up Krishna with ropes of love, Pranaya Rasanaya, Dritangi Padma, the lotus feet of Krishna, that devotee is to be known as a Bhagavat Pradhan, the one who's captured Krishna within his heart. And Krishna is not inclined to leave the heart of that devotee. This verse is really amazing. Prabhupada quotes this in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. It's one of my favorite verses. Just to glorify more the Srimad Bhagavatam, the holy name of Krishna. And even in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you'll find there's so many strings of nectarian verses glorifying Mahaprabhu, glorifying Lord Chaitanya's associates, the holy name of Krishna. It's amazing. The Srimad Bhagavatam also, since today's verse is speaking about Narada Muni, the 5th chapter of the 1st canto is also amazing. A lot of nice verses there. There's a favorite of Srila Prabhupada's, Tad Vagvisargo Janataga Viplavo Yasmin Pratishlokam Abhadyavatyapi Namanyanantasya Yashon Kintani Yat Shrinvanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadavaha. These words of the Srimad Bhagavatam are of a different creation, and they're meant to bring about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. And the verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam are accepted by those devotees who are pure in heart, and it's our duty as Rupanugas to give this mercy to others, because actually we'll feel happy when we do that. Because all the other literatures of this world, as Mahotsa Prabhu often quotes the following verse, Nayad vachas chitram padam hayar yasho jagat pavrinita pragrinita karhichit, that all these other things that the world has to offer are basically garbage. People are going, and Prabhupada makes this point in that purport, 1.5.11, that actually the people don't even want these things, and even the leaders of society, they know that it's bogus. So we really have to spread this propaganda of the bhakti cult en masse, which is the spearhead of our Krishna Life project, distributing Srila Prabhupada's books to anybody and everyone. And I look forward to coming back to Atlanta and burning down America during the Christmas marathon. The greatest happiness is experienced when you're able to share this knowledge with others, because when we go out and stick out our necks for Lord Chaitanya, he gives us a lot of reciprocation. And when we meet new people and we try our best to raise them up in Krishna consciousness, teach them all the different rules and regulations, and then help create more devotees, because actually the best tapasya, there's so many different austerities one can perform, but the best tapasya is to take care of others. Making more devotees, expanding the Krishna consciousness movement, engaging our entire lives in all the missionary activities. That's really the greatest way to spend one's time. And because the fallen condition of this world is really, it's really sad to see and experience. And people nowadays are brought up in all sorts of abominable conditions. And there's a nice verse that I'm learning right now, which is found in the 3rd canto, which is also glorifying the holy name. Aho bhattaswa pachato gariyan yad jivagre vartate namatubhyam te pustapaste juhuhu sasnu arya brahmanu chur nama grinanti ete. That aho bhattaswa, swa pacha. Swa pacha means a dog eater. So when you go home to visit your friend, this friend that you know, when they go home to see their family during Thanksgiving, they're eating dogs during that time of year. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is actually stating that even someone born in such a degraded condition to where their family's eating dogs, even they can actually be promoted. Aho bhatta swapachato gadiyan. And such a person who's chanting the holy name of Krishna, they've already performed all these different austerities. They've already gone to all the holy places of pilgrimage. They've already bathed in all the sacred waters. They've even developed already all the good mannerisms of the Aryans. So, the holy name is so powerful. Just by even this verse we heard, that even unintentionally or even unwillingly, Krishna's so merciful. Even just you see someone, or you're out with the devotees doing Harinam, and someone says, "Oh, these stupid Hare Krishnas, I'll never chant Hare Krishna." The devotee will say, "No, you just said it. It's too late." Krishna's going to come in, Oganasha, he's going to destroy innumerable sins in the heart of that person who chants his holy name. And I was just writing down different verses that I wanted to speak upon, because there's so many incredible verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Not to mention the Bhagavad Gita. You spend your whole lives studying these books and living by these books and distributing these books. And today I'm, by the mercy of my wonderful temple president, Vishnu Chitta Prabhu, I get to go to spend some time with my own spiritual master in the Holy Dham. Mostly in Govardhan, we'll be hearing. And like the Panchatattva, they would plunder the storehouse of love of God. So I'll be with Vaisheshika Prabhu and some of his followers, and plundering the nectar that's contained within the purports of Srila Prabhupada, which he, gave a lot to for us to have. So to really take advantage of them and to share them with others is really, really great, because that's the whole reason I'm going, is to get a lot of, to get absorbed and to be able to come back and then go crazy during the Book Distribution Marathon. And one thing I'll share, which is something I heard, I think Mahotsa Prabhu, you'd like this, that you never go broke taking a profit. So if you, there's different ways you can take this, but if you make endeavors to develop relationships and make time for the Shastra in your life, that you're actually profiting by doing so, because your intelligence is going to be sharpened, you're going to have proper understanding of the philosophy, you'll be able to make wise choices. I remember being with Parameshwara Prabhu, and he says, if you're ever deciding, you're trying to make a decision or something, just read Prabhupada's books. Like trying to figure out, like, what should I do? And everything is found within the purports of Prabhupada's books, and but we may have tons of different questions about the philosophy, so it's also important to have devotees whom we love and trust, who we can open our hearts to and have guya makyati prachiti. You can share with devotees, you can give prasadam to devotees. Kalki Prabhu so nicely, he knew I was going to India, so he made something so I can survive on my trip. And devotees are so loving. And even when you don't expect it, devotees just go out of their way to do something for you, and it just makes you feel like, oh wow, really feel appreciated and cared for, which is ultimately what everyone's looking for, to have the reciprocation. But I won't go on too much further. I don't have so much else to say, but if there are devotees who want to enliven the conversation with questions or comments, take them now. Bhakti Nick Prabhu.
Yeah, you mentioned, I forget that verse, but the holy name is an act and it's experience.
Yeah, it's from the Padma Purana.
Yeah, the Padma. Also, I've heard Prabhupada say that like real initiation means like to take the orders of the spiritual master seriously. So like my question is, for some person who chants the holy name is, I guess, taking the orders of Prabhupada or an aspiring spiritual master seriously, but they never actually go through a diksha initiation, can they still go back to Kali, although they don't have that diksha formality?
So your question is, if someone is following the orders with the best of their ability, but they actually haven't undergone initiation, can they go back to Godhead? I don't know if there are examples of this given in the Shastra. Or do you know, like, of a story found in the...
They're following the order, they'll take Diksha.
I'm sorry?
If they're following the order, they'll take Diksha.
So basically, no.
Yeah,
Well, that means they're not following the order. Well, it's not a no. They're not following the order because the order is spiritual master. It's take Diksha.
right. Yeah, Guru saying surrender to me and carry out his instructions is one thing, but to have that relationship is required. So it's, you can't really, you don't really like qualify as a disciple, I guess.
Yeah, Shukadeva Goswami, did he get initiated?
Well,
But he's on the whole other level.
Yeah.
What do you mean? It says he didn't take Upanayana ceremony.
No, but that's not.
He ran away from his father. Right?
Upanayana ceremony is a Pancharaja Sanskar.
So he got initiated.
He got initiated, yes.
Yeah,
The point is, he became inspired to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead upon hearing the Bhagavatam from his father. That's initiation. He considers himself a disciple of his father. Vaishnava Diksha, he received it. The Bhagavatam, which is non-different from the holy name of Krishna.
Chandan Prabhu sent a quote that explains this situation.
it takes your question.
One does not have to undergo initiation or execute the activities required before initiation. One simply has to vibrate the holy name with his lips, as even a man in the lowest class can be delivered.
Yeah, that
doesn't mean anything.
Oh,
That doesn't mean that's wrong. One does not have to undergo initiation or execute the activities required before initiation. This is all referring to samskaras. He's saying that one has to simply vibrate the holy name. According to this verse, you don't even have to accept spiritual master. You can't take things out of context here.
The purport probably, is there a purport or?
There is probably.
Was there a citation there? Is there a
I'm looking for it.
Yeah.
I have a question in the meantime.
Okay, now we.
These years talking about how like offenses the devotees.
Vaishnava.
Right there, Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Whole
The
purport
whole
is about
purport.
The whole purport Prabhupada is speaking about Diksha.
giving transcendental knowledge. Diksha, anyways, is those who think that Diksha is receiving mantra, they don't really understand what Diksha is. Prabhupada repeatedly quotes, Divya Gyan. This is why there is a lecture before initiation ceremony, meaning of initiation. And generally this is the verse that's spoken of. Divya Gyanam tato dadyat purva papasya samshaya Diksha disa proktas deshikais tatra kovidaihi. That Diksha is referred to by the great sages as Divya Gyanam, that transcendental knowledge is bestowed upon the disciple. And Purva Papasya Samshaya, that all previous sinful activities are destroyed, and along with it the process to destroy inclinations to perform sinful activities is also given, which is basically devotional service. This is called Diksha. So, those who think Diksha is just a mantra, they don't understand the import of Diksha. So, conclusion, without Diksha you cannot go back home back to Godhead, because without transcendental knowledge, how will you go back home back to Godhead? How without destroying your previous sinful activities, inclination to destroy sinful activities, how will you go back home back to Godhead? You can't. You need Divya Jnanam Tato Dadya. It has to be bestowed upon. You can't just read about it in the book. You have to get it from spiritual master.
Candra, Hare Krishna.
I mean, Nick asked if one just simply follows instructions but doesn't get a chance to take Diksha, can you go back to Godhead? Is that the question Nick asked? Because it's a little fuzzy.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, my understanding was if one simply takes Diksha and he takes that seriously, but if he doesn't get a chance to take Diksha, it goes back on back to Godhead.
I say like the devotees who saw Srila Prabhupada. Like the devotees who saw Srila Prabhupada back in 1977 but didn't take initiation from him and would just like to wait until the next life to get initiated by Prabhupada, or like they just go back home back to Godhead. What exactly are you saying?
No, I'm saying they follow the instructions of the spiritual masters, like not.
Yeah, the instruction of the spiritual master is to find a bona fide spiritual master to take initiation from.
So, but I mean, I've read many times, I understood, I could probably try to clear it up, but it's not like exactly that. That it is possible for a devotee, even without Diksha, to go back to Godhead.
It's that Guru Maharaj speaks about this. He gives the example that there is not a single Vaishnavacharya that we know of who has not accepted Diksha. Even if they do not primarily take Shiksha from their Diksha Guru, still they have Diksha Guru. That Diksha is an essential process that all devotees have given importance to. Therefore, it is so important because that even Supreme, there's a whole lectures, there's several lectures with Guru Maharaj about this. And that Guru Maharaj explains the point, just like pure devotees, they don't really need spiritual master. They don't need spiritual master. They are already connected with Krishna. But still, Krishna doesn't need spiritual master. Still they accept. They go through the process of accepting spiritual master, which is Diksha. So you have to, So they're just like, Mahotsav was explaining this. This actually is software Wikism. So it's like there is those who have worshipped Srila Prabhupada up to 1977 as their spiritual master. And Prabhupada passed away. They couldn't accept Diksha. They have to accept the mantra. They have to go through the formality of accepting Diksha from a bona fide spiritual master. No, but it's also you serve. But the point is, you understand that the instructions are not different because the disciple of Srila Prabhupada, who was duly initiated by him, is also following Prabhupada purely, and his instructions are not different. I mean, there's whole things in this is very, very fundamental, and it is not true that one can just because you're ignoring it. So you're ignoring the example of the predecessor acharyas.
Yeah.
You're ignoring the example of every single devotee in the history of the universe.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you can ignore all of that and then say you're following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas, because without following in the footsteps of them, how are you going to go back to garden? So
it may be that it may be coming from a past samskaras of associating with Sahajiyas because they have a similar philosophy. So that may be. Then I know exactly where it comes from.
I'm saying I don't care, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking persecution.
Yeah, I'm not making the point that one should get initiated. My understanding is, theoretically speaking, if there was a person in a place where they were just reading Prabhupada's books and they were following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, where technically they didn't have that opportunity, let's say, then it would still be possible for the person, no? I'm asking the question.
Well, nowadays we on YouTube and stuff.
Say, for instance, one takes the devotional service at a very old age, and then they suddenly become terminally ill. They don't have time to, take Diksha, but they follow the process and
Who is
say,
the spiritual master?
Prabhupada. That's the point.
yeah.
Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work.
That's what it is.
Okay, well, okay. So what if they take Shiksha from a bona fide representative of Prabhupada on the planet,
That's okay.
and they're planning on taking Diksha, but they don't actually make it to taking Diksha, but they follow the process perfectly. Is it possible for them?
My point is, with all these Zoom initiations, I don't really understand how it's possible.
No, it's before Zoom. That's his question, right?
Maybe it's before Zoom.
What happened?
Theoretically, there's a devotee that Atma Tattva Prabhu explains in his memories of Srila Prabhupada, where there is one Malayali who comes to Srila Prabhupada and says, Prabhupada, I want to be initiated by you. And Prabhupada just chants the mantra in one full round of the mantra. I want to chant Hare Krishna. He doesn't actually say, I want to chant Hare Krishna. I want to chant Hare Krishna. And then Prabhupada miraculously chants on one full round of beads. He shows him how to chant, he gives him the beads. He doesn't give him a name, he didn't go through the process of receiving, a name from Prabhupada or doing anything. But Prabhupada was a spiritual master, he met Prabhupada. Okay, clearly he met a bona fide representative of the spirit of the parampara, and he accepted Srila Prabhupada as a spiritual master, which is completely bona fide, and he went back to Garden. But you need to have a spiritual master. It's not that I got Prabhupada's books, and I have no connection with absolutely any representative, living representative of the parampara.
Was Prabhupada officially accepting him as a
Prabhupada didn't officially. The point is, that's what I'm trying to make. It's not the ceremony. It's the fact, do you have a spiritual master in the disciplic line right now? Yeah. Without that, it's not possible. Without that, it's not possible. And if you say, no, what if there's circumstance? No, but Krishna makes arrangements. There is no circumstance. Krishna makes arrangements. He makes arrangements for that to happen.
What about Gajendra?
Well, Prabhu, hold on. Well, Prabhu, Prabhupada said if the minute they get my books, they're initiated.
Yeah.
Wait.
What?
Say what?
What? You still have to, still Prabhupada saying initiate, and then he's saying you find devotees, get devotee associations with that, you won't do anything.
So can you clarify what initiation?
What is initiation?
Can you clarify what initiation?
Because possible, you want to make a point. Stop quizzing me.
make a point. You want to make a point.
Can you clarify what?
Hell yeah.
I'm curious about animals like a gender who go to, I mean, they don't take it.
When Supreme Personality of Godhead directly decides to bestow mercy, he becomes the spiritual master also.
Yeah.
That's not the same. It's different. The animals of Jharikanda forest danced with Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya became their spiritual master. Krishna can also be spiritual master. It's not Krishna cannot be spiritual master. How many people does he choose to be a spiritual master of? That's a whole other thing.
Even the animals in Vrindavan, like Guru Maharaj was talking the other day, like they have one last life.
Animals in Vrindavan, they have one last life. You see, they were all devotees. And, well, they became monkeys because they didn't follow the order. They were so master actually. And how Krishna deals, they are in the holy dham, what exactly happens to them, I don't know. Like what rasa do they go? They go Madhurya rasa, they get Sakya rasa, I don't know. It's like this, the point is that the question is, can you get liberated without accepting initiation? The question then is, have you received transcendental knowledge from a bona fide spiritual master? The current link in the parampara is important. It's not that, Prabhupada, and then that's it. And why Prabhupada? Go to Brahma. Why?
Don't rather Rani. Blade of grass. Y'all go to Brahma.
Veda Vyasa also is one of the spiritual masters. Why do you need Prabhupada? You go to Veda Vyasa. It's like,
You go straight.
the point is there is a system, there is a parampara, there is disciplic succession.
If you take initiation from a spiritual master, but come back for births after births, are they your diksha forever?
Well, it's said that the spiritual master appears. There is the case of Vilamangal Thakur, whose spiritual master appeared or inspired, it said, the prostitute Chintamani to instruct it. And Vilamangal Thakur took that as the instruction of the spiritual master. Acharya has also agreed with this, that the spiritual master in his previous life spoke to him through Chintamani. Otherwise, what is the meaning? Chakshudan Vilode Janme Janme Prabhu said that the spiritual master, birth after birth, the spiritual master gives us transcendental knowledge. You don't have spiritual master, it doesn't work. You have to have an actual connection with the spiritual master. It's absolutely important. Shukadev Goswami has it with Vedavyas. He does have it. Vedavyas is his father, but he didn't give a fig about his father until he heard the Bhagavatam.
Oh, my son!
You didn't give a fig like, hey, I'm going.
There has to be a palpable connection with one spiritual master. It must be felt. It's very palpable. The relationship is a real relationship. It's not some imaginary thing. It's not like, me, Bible, and Jesus, or whatever they say.
Jesus, Bible, myself, and God.
No, that's not
That's too long.
Oh, Jesus is God. Forget about the Bible. You don't need the Bible, you just need Jesus. You do not need the Bible. You don't even need the Bible. You just need Jesus.
I don't think you need the
Govindananda Prabhu, did you have a point you wanted to share?
No, I was joking.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're just joking during Bhagavatam.
Was George Harrison someone spoke? No, or not? Because someone was speaking of this point, but I didn't hear the name. Was speaking about George Harrison or not? Okay, this is Prabhupada letter from 17 April 2012. He says, I think George, because George wanted to take initiation of Prabhupada.
Yeah.
He said, I think George does not require to become my formal disciple because he is already more than my disciple. He has sympathy for my movement. I have all blessings for him. So, he didn't took initiation before.
No, that's the point. That's literally the point. That he met a living representative of the Guru Parampara. The bottom line is you have to get the mercy of the living representative of the Guru Parampara, of the current living representative. Because in Hindi, Guru Maharaj has this lecture called Khan Keechne Wala Guru, which means that the Guru that pulls your ear. So you have to get that mercy. Otherwise, there's no Sattvicism bhav. Yeah. So the ceremony is a formality, but you need to have You have to have the direct link with the person who is representing the Guru Parampara. You have to receive transcendental knowledge from it.
My Guru Maharaj always makes this point that if you see somebody in the temple without a counter string, that you can basically understand that they're insincere.
Countess? What's that?
The counter beats.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, I just chant all day. But
I hate those people.
Those guys.
Maharaj makes the reference to the Sadgoswami Astakam, that even the Goswamis, some people, okay, they were they're counting how many times they chanted, counting down.
I was just, what if they had a mantra ball and not this thing?
Well, if they got it after the marathon, then they're bona fide.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
In that sense, what is the difference between Diksha and Shiksha? Because you're a representative of the Guru Parampara living, you're teaching how to practice devotional service, pure devotional service, but you're not like formally initiate the person. So what makes the difference between like Diksha and Shiksha in that case?
You can answer, Prabhu.
Well, generally, Diksha Guru is the foremost Shiksha Guru. Generally. That one accepts Diksha after taking Shiksha from that spiritual master, being inspired, he takes Diksha. Generally, Diksha, actually intrinsically there is no difference between Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru. There is no difference at all. But Diksha Guru is the one who conducts the formal initiation ceremony. But he is not just a formality in most cases, because in most cases he also gave Shiksha. However, there can be instances where there can be an agreement between the Diksha and the Shiksha Guru, that the Shiksha Guru, for whatever reason, is not formally accepting disciples. Then another Guru can give the formality of Diksha and is worshipped as Diksha Guru, but the disciple is primarily inspired by the Shiksha Guru. And the Diksha Guru doesn't have a particular problem with that, it's okay. Although it is supposed to be rare, it is not supposed to be the usual case, whatever, like, you know.
It's actually our case.
Yeah, I figured that's exactly what you're asking.
But generally that's not the case. I'm aware, but generally that's not the case. Because of different reasons they are unable to, although they are fully qualified to be Diksha, so that they are unable to do so. So actually there is no difference, Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru, there is no difference.
You mentioned Bilvamangala Thakur, and there's actually a purport in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where Prabhupada writes that Bilvamangala Thakur actually saw his Shiksha Guru and Diksha Gurus in the same level.
Yeah, Ishwara Puri.
You are referring to Mahaprabhu's sannyas initiation.
No,
but that's different. Sannyas.
That's very different.
Sannyas initiation can be because his guru is Ishwara Puri, who's Vaishnava.
Ishwara Puri.
He took sannyas from Keshav Bharati. But actually it is said that he initiated Keshav Bharati, then Keshav Bharati gave him sannyas. He converted Keshav Bharati into
He
Vaishnava.
converted him and then
took sannyas from him.
9:05.
Gunada Goswami is also one example. He took initiation from Narnanacharya. Huh? Gunada Goswami. Yeah, but he prays Ada Dinastir Namdam Taridam Chek Punach Punach Shima Trupa Padam Jo Durisham Jan Majalmani that birth after birth I bow down with straw my feet. Kids? Yeah, that I want to take birth of the birth Shumar of the lotus feet, dust near the dust of the lotus feet of Sharupa Goswami. So this is his main inspiration. Not like Shisha, Shmon is more, how to say, valid and Disha.
Anything from the Matajis?
So that's just for clarification when it comes to taking initiation or give you mercy of the bona-fide spiritual master. If one doesn't, like falls down in their life and it has to take birth again, would they have to be initiated by that spiritual master again? And if so, if that spiritual master isn't present, then what, like how does that manifest if we're following the spiritual master eternally?
The Guru Parampara, the link goes on.
No, well, the spiritual master, Prabhupada actually comments in a purport that spiritual master reappears to save his disciples who didn't go back to Godhead. And therefore Prabhupada says that a genuine disciple does not want to make his spiritual master come back to save him, therefore he should finish his business in one life and go back to Godhead. There's one point Prabhupada makes, and then in the story of Bilamangal Thakur, we see that the spiritual master can manifest in other ways also.
So there is also a possibility that, in the same line,
No, but that's there. But ultimately, it is the same. It's the spiritual master who's manifesting. But the connection is with the spiritual master.
What's wrong?
Damodar Prabhu has to say again, kidding.
Damodar Prabhu. The mic to Prabhu.
If everyone could hear me. In the mid 80s, this topic came up about Shiksha and Diksha Guru. So yes, Shiksha and Diksha are one. It doesn't have to mean they're one person. That was the conception that the Shiksha and the Diksha Guru, when Srila Prabhupada was on the planet, it's the same. But even with spiritual life and relationships between devotees organically happen. So Srila Prabhupada couldn't be everywhere in one place. I mean, he was there through his tapes, through his books, and like that. But I remember from the late 70s to the mid 80s, there was always, in every temple, there was always some devotees who took advice from other devotees. Like myself, I was the Pujari in Boston, but I was also friends with Ranjana. He wasn't sannyasi yet, but he was temple president. And I used to take instruction from him. But he was in agreement and had the same mood as Satsura Maharaj. So in that sense, it worked out nicely. So Shiksha and Diksha is, they're the same, but to be the way it was described to me was Shiksha is actually more important than Diksha. Yes, the Diksha Guru is one who gives the initiation, but a lot of times, in most cases, like within ISKCON, it's different. In Vedic times, the Guru was there, and the disciples lived with the Guru, and everything worked fine. It was simpatico, everybody was together. But because it's a preaching movement, so the Guru usually travels around a lot. So what ends up happening is that whoever is there as a senior devotee becomes the Shiksha. So just like Vishnu might not want to admit it, but in one sense he has to be a Shiksha Guru here, because he's like one of the older devotees. And he's in that position of giving. There's other Shikshas here also, Mahaprabhu has to be Shiksha, Chandacharya has to be Shiksha. And as devotees become more mature and grow up in Krishna consciousness, they have to also take on that position of inspiring other devotees how to be Krishna conscious as a representative of the Diksha. So Srila Prabhupada was the Diksha Guru. He was insurmountably, undeniably the Guru. He was, Jagat Guru, the savior of the universe. But he had to give out that representation of Shiksha to different devotees. But he never really designated it. It just naturally happened. Like if you were in Dallas, it was Tamal Krishna Maharaj. If you were in New York, at one time it was Adikeshwara. And then when the Gurus developed, and there was all these different senior devotees. But in a lot of temples, devotees you don't even know about, they're the Shiksha for most of them. You go to LA, who's the Shiksha Guru in LA? Huh? Brigupati is one, but there's also Savasprabhu. He's been there for 35, 40 years, maybe longer. So it's a natural relationship. Shiksha is a relationship between two devotees. which is based on service and based on faith. And that's Shraddha. That they know that this person can help guide me in my service. So, but at the same time, when the Buddha comes, it's extremely important. Yeah. So Shiksha and Diksha are the same, but there has to be that person who gives the instruction every day, who helps the devotees every day. So here you have some wonderful devotees here giving that instruction and that support. The Shiksha could even be amongst friends, amongst peers. You go to someone who you really mind to, who you feel safe with, and then they give you instruction, they inspire you. That's spiritual instruction, and that's Shiksha on another level. So, but it's something that organically happens, and it's a relationship between the devotees.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Bhagavatam ki
Avadhuta Prabhu ki
Jai.